I want to start today with a question, and I want you to answer it honestly, just for yourself. Question is, what do you actually believe about yourself? Not what you post online, not what you tell your team or your clients or your spouse. What do you believe deep down in the quiet when nobody's watching and the performance is off? Do you believe you're capable of building what you say you want to build? Do you believe you deserve the level of success you're pursuing? Or do you believe at the core level that things will work out? Or are you secretly waiting for that other shoe to drop? Do you believe money flows to you or that it always seems to be flowing away? Do you believe your health, your relationships, your business can genuinely thrive or just survive? Because here's what decades of psychology, neuroscience, and the lived experience of thousands of high performers will tell you. What you believe at that level, not the conscious level, but the deep, embedded, often invisible level is running your life. And if that belief system doesn't match where you say you want to go, no amount of strategy or hustle or networking or motivation is going to close that gap permanently. In 1963, a New Thought minister and author named Dr. Joseph Murphy published a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It has sold over 4 million copies, and it has influenced CEOs, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs across 6 decades. The central message is as relevant today as it was then. You have the power inside you that most people never learn to use, and until you do, you are operating at a fraction of your actual capacity. Today on Mind Your Business, we're going to go deep, way down into your mind. So get comfortable. Let's get into it. Before we can talk about reprogramming the subconscious, we need to understand what it is and how it operates. And the modern neuroscience largely backs him up. So let's talk about the conscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is part of your mind that you identify with. It's the part that's listening to this right now. It's the rational, analytical, evaluative mind. It chooses, it reasons, it decides. It can accept or reject an idea. And when you're working through a business problem, making a decision, weighing pros or cons, that's your conscious mind at work. Now, here's what's critical. The conscious mind can hold roughly 7 pieces of information at one time. That's it. And it governs by most estimates somewhere between 2 and 10% of your daily behavior. Now, let's talk about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the engine. It's running constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It governs every automatic function in your body, from your heartbeat, your breathing, your immune system, your digestion. It stores every experience you've ever had, every belief you ever formed, every emotional pattern you've ever run. And here's the number that should change the way you think about yourself and your business. The subconscious mind governs approximately 90 to 95% of your behavior, your habits, your emotional reactions, your default responses under pressure, your relationship with money, risk, authority, failure, and success. Almost all of it running automatically beneath your conscious awareness. Now, Joseph Murphy said, the law of your mind is this. You'll get a reaction or response from your subconscious mind according to the nature of the thought or the idea you hold in your conscious mind. Murphy's core insight is this. The subconscious mind does not evaluate, does not judge, does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It simply accepts, executes whatever your conscious mind impresses upon it, repeatedly, emotionally, consistently. This means your subconscious has been programmed, either by your parents, by your early experiences, by every failure that left a mark, and every success that validated a belief, by the stories your environment told you about the people like you could achieve. Right now, today, that programming is shaping your decisions, your energy, your relationships, and your results, whether you know it or not. Now, let's talk about the key distinctions between conscious and the unconscious. Now, the conscious mind It's rational, it's evaluative, has limited bandwidth, controls maybe about 5% of your behavior, can accept or reject ideas, and operates while you're awake and focused. Now, your subconscious, it's non-evaluative. It's always on, infinite storage. It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including during sleep. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious through repetition, emotion, and belief, it will work to produce your outer world. Now, in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7, it says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Solomon wrote that 3,000 years ago, and Murphy built an entire framework around it. Modern cognitive neuroscience confirmed it. And the thought you hold in your heart, not your head, but deep, emotionally charged, habitually repeated thought is literally shaping your reality. Now, let's get very specific, because Murphy isn't writing abstract philosophy. He's describing something that has a direct, measurable impact on your business and your leadership every single day. Let's talk about what the negative subconscious programming looks like. You set a revenue goal for 3 years in a row and you hit 80% of it every time. Never 100, never 120, but only 80%. That's not a strategy problem. That's a ceiling. It's a subconscious belief about what is appropriate or safe for you to achieve. You hire well, you build a great team, then unconsciously micromanage until your best people leave. You know delegation is the answer, you read the books, but something keeps pulling you back into the weeds. That's a trust pattern running beneath the awareness. You raise your prices, then immediately discount them the moment the client hesitates. Not because the price is wrong, but because somewhere deep in your programming, you don't fully believe you're worth what you're charging. That's a value belief showing up as a business decision. You have a great idea, do nothing with it for 6 months, then watch someone else launch it. Repeatedly, that's a fear program. Fear of failure, fear of visibility, fear of success would require running on autopilot. Dr. Murphy said, "The trouble with most people is that they have the wrong concept of themselves. They believe they are limited, and this belief becomes their master." Murphy's not being cruel. He's being precise. The limitation is real, but it's not fixed. It's not permanent. It's not fate. It's actually programming. And programming can be changed. In Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, it says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but for the power and the love and of all sound mind." Fear, that's the default program that runs in the absence of intentional reprogramming. The spirit of fear, not the spirit of power. Murphy would say, fear is not who you are, it's what was installed. And the good news is, you are the programmer now. Let's talk about the reprogramming toolkit. This is where the episode shifts from diagnosis to prescription. Murphy was not a theorist. He was a practitioner who worked with thousands of people, documented specific, repeatable methods for impressing new beliefs on the subconscious mind. So let's walk through the most powerful ones. Method number 1, affirmation with feeling. Murphy is not talking about the kind of affirmation you whisper half-heartedly in the mirror while part of your brain is wondering what's for breakfast. He's talking about statements of truth, specific, personal, present tense, delivered with a genuine emotional conviction. Subconscious is not moved by words alone. It is moved by feeling. The emotional charge attached to a thought is what drives it deep enough to stick. This is why trauma programs us so effectively. The emotion is overwhelming, and the belief gets branded instantly. Murphy's insight is that we can use the same mechanism intentionally in a positive direction. He gives a specific formula. State what you want as it's already true. Feel it. Believe it. Now, Joseph Murphy said, repeat this statement: "I am healthy, strong, harmonious, with faith, feeling, and conviction." And your subconscious mind will respond to your conscious instructions. In business terms, it's not, "I hope my business grows," but "I'm a builder of a thriving enterprise." You're not going to say, "I'm trying to be a better leader," but you're going to say, "I lead with clarity, confidence, and genuine care for my people." You're not going to say, "I want to close more sales," but rather I want to create enormous value and I'm well compensated for it. Present tense, emotionally owned, repeat it consistently. Now, method number 2 is visualization. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. This is neuroscience, not mysticism. Brain imaging studies confirm that the same neural pathways activate whether you physically perform an action or vividly imagine performing it. Murphy knew this intuitively decades before the research actually confirmed it. His technique: create a mental movie of the outcome you want. See it in detail. See yourself in the scene, not watching from the outside, but experiencing it from the inside. Who is there? What does it look like? What does it sound like? And what does it feel like? Engage in all the senses. Run the movie with regularity, especially in a hypnagogic state, a drowsy period just before sleep. You are literally rehearsing success at the level where your behavior is actually generated. This is what elite athletes have done for decades. Michael Phelps watched his mental videotape before the race. Roger Federer was spoken about mental rehearsal as a core part of his preparation. Jim Carrey famously wrote himself a check for $10 million before he was famous and looked at it every single day. Murphy was prescribing this in 1963. Method number 3, the sleep technique. Murphy dedicates significant attention to what he calls the sleep technique, the practice of impressing a specific idea, image, or feeling on the subconscious in the moments just before falling asleep. Because in the drowsy, relaxed state, the critical analytical faculty of your conscious mind becomes quiet, and the subconscious becomes accessible in a way it simply isn't during the busy, demanding hours of the day. The practical version: instead of spending the last 10 minutes of your day scrolling through your phone, absorbing anxiety, comparison, and noise, you spend those 10 minutes deliberately impressing the mindset, belief, or outcome you want your subconscious to work through the night. Feed it the problem that you want solved. Feed it the belief you want installed. Feed it the vision of where you're going. Your brain does the most profound consolidational work while you sleep. Give it something worth consolidating. Now, Joseph Murphy said, think good and good follows. Think evil, evil follows. You are what you think all day long. Method number 4, neutralizing the negative self-talk. Murphy is clear that if affirmations do not work in the environment of constant negative self-talk, you cannot plant seeds in poisoned soil, which means that reprogramming work has 2 sides: installing new beliefs and actively interrupting the old ones. He suggests a technique of what we might call now thought interruption and replacement. The moment you catch yourself in a negative internal narrative: I've always messed this up, this isn't going to work, I'm no good enough for this level, you acknowledge it. You cannot push the thought down or pretend it isn't there. You acknowledge it, then immediately replace it with something constructive opposite. Not suppression and not substitution. The old program runs, you notice it running, and you consciously choose to run a different program every time without exception until the new program becomes the default. Now, this is not easy. Murphy was clear that it takes discipline, but he was equally clear that it is absolutely learnable. And the results over time are not subtle, but incredible. Method number 5, prayer as subconscious impression. Murphy was a minister, and he frames much of his teaching in the language of prayer. What he describes is deeply aligned with what we know about how the subconscious receives instruction. He says that genuine, faith-filled prayer, not desperate begging, not fearful pleading, but confident, grateful, already received prayer, is the one of the most powerful methods of subconscious impression available. When you pray with conviction that what you're asking for is already being provided, when your prayer is a declaration of trust rather than a petition of doubt, you are speaking directly to the part of your mind that can actually produce results. Murphy called this scientific prayer. The mystics called it faith. Neuroscientists would call it intentional belief formation. The destination is the same. In Mark chapter 11, verse 24, He says, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. Believe that you receive them, present tense, before the evidence, before the results. That is the precise mental posture Murphy is prescribing. Not hope, not wishful thinking, belief. Deep, subconscious, emotionally owned belief. That what you are aligned with is already in motion. Now, I want to spend a few minutes specifically on the money piece because Murphy dedicates significant space to it, and because I think it is where subconscious programming causes the most silent, invisible damage in entrepreneurship. Most people have inherited a money story from their family of origin, from their community, from their culture, from their early experiences of scarcity or shame or instability around finances. And that story, regardless of what they consciously believe about money now, is often still running. Joseph Murphy said, "You're not poor because you lack money. You are poor because you lack the right ideas about money. Change your concept of money, and money will change." Murphy's argument is that money, like everything else in the outer world, is a reflection of your inner world, not a punishment, not a random luck, not simply a product of effort and strategy, a reflection. That doesn't mean you don't work hard, you do. But working hard on top of a subconscious belief that says money is dangerous, or that wealthy people are corrupt, or that people like you don't build wealth, is like driving with the parking brake on. The engine's running, the fuel is burning, the brake is still engaged. The money beliefs that most commonly show up as invisible brakes to entrepreneurs. Money is hard to get. I have to sacrifice health or relationship to earn more. If I charge what I'm worth, people think I'm greedy. Success will make people resent me. It's selfish to want abundance. Does that sound familiar? Murphy's prescription: identify the specific belief. Write it down. Then deliberately, consistently, emotionally replace it with the opposite. Using the techniques we just covered over time with consistency, the new belief becomes the operating system, and the outer results change, not as magic, but as a natural consequence of aligned inner and outer work. Dr. Murphy said, there is nothing wrong with having money. The wrong is having the wrong concept of money. So here's what I want you to take away from today. You've been working on your business, but have you actually been working on the mind that runs your business? Because every strategy you implement, every system you build, every hire you make, every pitch you deliver, is being filtered through a set of beliefs about yourself and the world that you probably didn't consciously choose. They were installed in you. They have been running largely unchecked ever since. This is an invitation, because what you've been programmed can be unprogrammed. What was installed by your environment can be upgraded by your intention. The ceiling you keep hitting is not the ceiling of your potential. It is the ceiling of your current programming. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be is at its deepest level a belief gap, not a skill gap. Dr. Murphy said, your subconscious mind does not argue with you. It accepts what your conscious mind decrees. If you say, I can't afford it, it may be true, but don't say it. Say, I'll manifest the money in divine order. This week, I want you to identify the single belief about yourself, your business, or money that you suspect is most limiting you right now. Write it down, then write its exact opposite. A present tense, emotionally true statement of who you are becoming. And for the next 7 days, read it out loud every morning when you wake up and every night before you sleep. Not quickly, with full attention and genuine feeling. And at the end of the 7 days, write down what you've noticed in your thinking, in your energy, and in what showed up around you. Do not skip the feeling. The feeling is the signal that gets through. Dr. Joseph Murphy spent his life teaching people that they are not victims of their circumstances. They are products of their thinking, and that thinking can change permanently. Starting today, read the book, do the work, not once, consistently, the way you train any other high performance skill, because your mind is the business. Everything else is downstream from it. Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says, and be not conformed to this world, But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. The renewing of your mind, that is not a side project. That is your project. Everything you want to build, lead, and become is waiting on the other side of that renewal. I'm Steve Wagner, and this is Mind Your Business. You have everything you need. Now go use it.